So yeah, so I left Porto Velho in Brazil, and as I mentioned, I had to cross a river, Rio Madeira, the Madeira River, in Abuna. So before I even got to the river crossing on the route, there was like this like part where a bridge went across this huge swampland, and I have some video of that. It was interesting. I think they were doing some road construction, so we had to stop there on that bridge, and it's just like a weird, interesting landscape. Not like gorgeous weather or anything, but sort of an interesting zone. And then, sure enough, we got to the ferry, and weather was okay when we got there. And I was watching like cars kind of go on. First of all, the cars come off of it. It didn't look too insane. And then so the cars went onto it, and I watched them, and I went on. No problems. No problems at all. It was like smooth entry onto that ferry, so that was good. Really cheap to cross as well. And on the trip across, I noticed that there was a bridge being built beside the route the ferry was taking. And actually, the situation is, I mentioned that in Parque Nacional Lençóis, I thought that the route had been built, paved and everything like that, all the way to the sand dunes up north in Brazil before I went for my trip. But it turned out, when I had left for my trip, it had not yet been built. So actually, I was really lucky that by the time I got there on February 9th, the road had been paved on January 15th and everything was good to go. But in this case, I'm crossing on the ferry. I see that they are building a bridge across, so you don't need to take the ferry. But that was not set to be completed until this year. So, I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have helped me, but it's kind of like if I'd gone a year later, which definitely was not in the cards, I would have had to take the ferry. But the ferry was fine, not a problem at all. And there's some video of me crossing right here. Yeah, it was cool. So anyway, got to the other side, no problem getting off the ferry, and then hit the road. And the first city I needed to get to is Extrema. That's where I was going to stay that night. And that was like literally like a one-strip town. Everything other than the highway running through it was like dirt roads. And it was okay when I got there, although the parking spot was like ridiculously tight. And like it was kind of funny because I did attempt it a few times. I'm terrible at parking. I'm actually really bad at anything to do with like spatial relations relative to my car going slow. Anyway, so I got to the hotel, this cowboy hotel, kind of funny. And then it started pouring, so I just hung out in the hotel for a little bit. And then when the rain stopped, I went out, and the city, there was like dirt roads, like a mud bath. So sure enough, I'm walking around in the city, not a city, like a village, I would say, on these dirt roads, and a car goes by, hits a mud puddle, and I have like that red clay mud like stained all over my clothes. Nothing I could do about it, so I kept walking. I went to a few stores or whatever, and I was kind of like, embarrassed to go in like covered in mud. But what? I mean, I don't care. Whatever. It was just kind of awkward, but I was not really over focusing on that. It was an interesting new world to be in, a little tiny town. And I got some food there from like, again, not like a restaurant, more like someone's house where they're just like, hey, well, we do dinners as well. You don't go like into the house. I mean, you can, the front part, but it's just not really a restaurant. There's no sign. It's just, that they put up a little like thing outside with like serving food or whatever. So went and got some food there. That was okay. Got back to the hotel, no problem. The next day, I would head out of the state of Rondonia, because this place, Extrema, is still in Rondonia, into the last state I'd been in Brazil, which is Acre. And so actually on the way to Acre, the highway for about 8 kilometers goes through the state of Amazonas. So if you count that, which I probably shouldn't, but if you count Amazonas, I hit 21 of the 27 Brazilian states. And if you don't count Amazonas, 20 of the 27 Brazilian states I went through on my trip. And all in all, like the next town I was headed to was Brasilia, and that was going to be the 41st city that I actually stayed in Brazil. I'd been through many more towns, of course, en route, but staying, and that was my last town in Brazil, 41st town. But before I could even get to Brasilia, not Brasilia, Brasileia, slightly different. It's a tiny little town. Brasilia is like this giant Russian futurist weird spot. So before I could even get to Brasileia, almost as soon as I got into Acre, I hit a pothole, blew a tire. So I pulled the car over and I'm changing the tire. This guy like pulls up behind me and I'm kind of like, oh god, like am I going to get jacked? But it turned out he owned a tire shop, so he was like, yo, let's go to my tire shop. So the next little village went to his tire shop and he fixed everything, rotated my tires, blah, 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 blah. And like, again, very religious evangelical guy, and he's like, the gods were looking out for you, and like, hardly charged me anything, and like, he gave me a big hug. Like, it was like, I don't know, like, and he wasn't gay either. Like, he was actually like in a family, kid, wife, and everything like that. So it wasn't like a weird Texas situation that I was in. It was just like the people in Brazil are like sometimes like so friendly, and that religious component, they really like believe in like. It's not like, okay, my religion's over here, my life's over here. It's like it is part of their life, like every day. So it was Pretty weird. But anyway, so car was good, so I hit the road, now I'm driving, and then the rain starts coming down, and I got my wipers just going, trying to clear that windshield, like really like a ton of rain. But I could drive, but it was like difficult. And then, sure enough, out of nowhere, my windshield wipers freeze like this. And I'm like, cling, 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 like trying to like get them to turn back on. Nothing. So I have no windshield wipers in the middle of like a tropical like downpour, like in the middle of like the jungle, like total downpour. And I'm like, dude, like what do I do? So I pull over and just wait. And like my car also has some weird sealing issues, like the sealing on the windshield, the way it's sealed is not right. So when it rains really hard, like sometimes water comes in. So I'm sitting there in my car waiting, and just like water is just like pouring into my car. I mean, not like, you know, like turning on the tap, but like just leaking in. And like the rain's not showing any signs of slowing down. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I don't have windshield wipers, like what am I gonna do? So at one point I felt like the rain slowed just a little bit, and I was like, you gotta try this, Bruno, because I was gonna be stuck here for who knows how long. So I was like driving without windshield wipers, like sort of looking out the window, trying to use the defrost, and like going like so slow, again, like just hoping no one would like slam into me from the back, because you know it's cloudy, right, so it's not like a lot of light, even though it's daytime. But sure enough, I made it to Brasilia, and I got to the hotel, parked the car, and I was like, hey, I need to find someone who can fix my windshield wipers here. So that night I just went out, it was rainy, got some food, blah, 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 no big deal, super muddy, whatever. Came back to the hotel, and the next day went to go see if there were any car shops that could do the windshield wipers. Tried a few, ended up at one electronics car shop, and they're like, well, we got to call this other place to see if they have the motor that is your particular type for your windshield, because it's like, I can't just put any windshield wipers on your car, and I can't just put any windshield wiper motor inside your windshield wipers. It's a very specific type for your Volkswagen Golf. So they were calling around to other spots in Brazil to see if anyone could get the delivery there. And so they were like, well, it's going to be another night. So I had to stay in Brasilia an extra day. And that night, because Brasilia is like right on the border with a little town called Cobija in Bolivia. It's sort of like I did in Foz do Iguaçu with Paraguay. So I was able to just walk, literally like walk across this bridge, and I have a video of it here, it's gorgeous like sunset. So just like walk right from Brasilia over to Cobija, across this bridge, over the river that divides them. Like, they didn't even check my passport, nothing, no vehicle, nothing like that. And so there I am now, I'm in Bolivia, and Cobija is like a different vibe than Brasilia for some reason. It's like maybe feels a little bit bigger, but a different vibe to it, of course different language, but yeah. I kind of definitely liked Cobija more than like Brasilia, but whatever. So after that, came to Brasilia, checked out some more areas, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Got back to the hotel. In the morning, went to go see if those guys could find the part for the car. Nada. So they were like, there's nothing we can do. And I was like, well, I guess I just have to drive to Peru then, because the next day was going to be going into Peru. Like, yeah, man, just like try to leave when it's not raining. And of course, in this zone, it's like every afternoon there's rain. So I thought, yo, if I leave like early in the morning, I'll miss the rain. So I get there early in the morning and go to well, actually, no, I didn't, because I didn't want to stay another night. So then, like, I left, and by the time I got to, it wasn't raining when I left, but by the time I got sort of near the border, raining like crazy. So I was like, I didn't want to get to the border and then inspect the car and be like, you don't have windshield wipers, why? And it be raining and it be a problem. So I just like waited at this little gas station, like tiny little gas station in the middle of nowhere before the border, hoping the rain would stop. There was a lot of other people waiting there too, like on motorbikes and stuff, because they didn't want to deal with this like crazy downpour on their motorbikes. So anyway, so after a while, the rain just slowed a little. I was like, I gotta go. I can't wait here all day. So I went to the border, and the Brazil border and the Peru border are like, there's about a kilometer in between them. So I went to the Brazil border, and it was covered, so no problems with that. They checked me out, all good. I'm out of Brazil. And then drive to the Peru. And by the time I got to the Peru entrance, the border, the rain had stopped. So I was like, thank you. So parked the car at the side of the road, go deal with the paperwork. Very small border crossing there. And it was all good, except for the guy screwed up my paperwork because he put the permit for my vehicle, my tourist permit for the vehicle, he put the passport number when I first entered Peru in 2015 on the way down to Argentina. He just didn't change it in the system. So I was planning to ship my car from Peru, and I was like, oh God, I wonder if this is going to be a problem. So I realized that later, but anyway, no problem. Continued on the journey. What I noticed, like, in Peru was the roads were way better than Brazil, oddly enough, so no worry about potholes. But the speed limit was like 60k, so I was like, oh my God, it's such a tease, because finally I can drive fast, not worry about potholes, but there's like no way that I can go over 60 kilometers an hour, otherwise I might get a ticket. So, and also it was much more jungly there, because I don't think they have the deforestation that Brazil does in that jungle area. So anyway, so I get to the first town I'm staying, which is Porto Maldonado, And my hotel's cool. It's kind of in the center. Get there, get checked in, everything's cool. And then go out looking for auto parts places to maybe fix my windshield wipers. Can't do it. And then go get some dinner at this. It wasn't like someone's house, but it was like across between a house and a restaurant. And in Peru, they like to do like soup before the meal. So yeah, so like I was worried about the soup because it's tap water, right? But I still asked them, is this soup boiled? Is the water boiled? And they're like, yeah, of course. So I ate that, took the risk, and no problems, fortunately, or so I thought. And then again, another thing about Peru, man, on television, always at the dinner hour, there's like this super trashy, like American Gladiators reality type show. And I remembered it from the way down, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe they're still watching this. Like, it's just like, it's in like every restaurant you go to around dinner time. There's just like this, like, oh, it's like, I mean, it's like, I guess like basic entertainment, but I was just like, what is this? Definitely didn't happen in Argentina or Brazil, not that kind of television. Anyway, so I get back to the hotel that night, everything's fine, go to bed. In the morning, I feel a little bit achy, like, I don't know why, and I wasn't thinking it was the soup or anything like that because I felt like that would have hurt my stomach, not made me like achy. But there, in the city, there was like this giant tower in the middle of it that you could walk up the stairs to the top of it. So I walked up to the top and I got a like nice view, but that like destroyed my quads. Like, I mean, I know I was out of shape. I was driving the whole trip, not doing a lot of like whatever. But I think the combination of whatever was making me achy in the morning, plus walking up all those stairs to the top of the building, like literally destroyed my quads, like killed them. So anyway, I left Porto Maldonado, and then the next stop on the trip was going to be Mazuko, this like tiny little town on the route up to Cusco. And you know, like, so you're still in the jungle on the way to Mazuko, but you start having like rolling hills with the green mixed with the terrain changed. So it's not dry at all. It's still full jungle, but you got the hills starting to happen. Not the Andes, not anything close to that, but terrain starts to become a little bit more dynamic. Anyway, get to Mazuko and get to the hotel. It's one of those super small hotels, so the car had to be on the street. It's literally like a one-strip kind of town. But the deal was they had someone who was 24-hour, like, on supervision of the vehicle, supposedly. So I was like, please, like, don't let my vehicle get destroyed. So I parked my car there, got checked in, and right away, first thing that happened was my Canada bag, my travel bag, I ruined the zipper on it. Like, I picked it up the wrong way or something. So I was thinking, though, I was like, this is a small little town, like a little village. It's probably cheaper here to get it fixed right here than, like, anywhere else in the world. So I went out looking and went through the square and found somebody who could, like, sew it up. So he fixed it. And while he was working on it, because I had to go back to get it later, I was walking back to the hotel, and there was like a taxi company or something, maybe a tourist company, I'm not sure, for like going up into the Andes, and I was asking them about the route up to Cusco, because like my plan was to go meet Seth in Cusco. Seth is my friend from Flagstaff, from university in Arizona. Oddly, it had just worked out that like he was going to be visiting Peru and Machu Picchu at the same time as me crossing over. So I found this out a couple weeks before, and I needed to like get on schedule to go meet him. So my plan was to go from Mazuko up to Cusco. But these guys at the tourist company were like, nah, man, like that road has been washed out for like 3 weeks, and it's going to be at least another month or two before it's opened again. So you have to take a detour. So I was like, oh my god. So like, so then I ended up finding I had to take this route up to Sikwani. But anyway, the deal was, like in this video right here, is that I had two major obstacles to cross. I had to cross that river at Abuna, the Rio Madeira, and I made it, no problems. I had to cross the border into Peru, which is not usually a problem, but borders are always something you're like, oh, okay, I gotta deal with the border. And then the third obstacle that I was like worried about basically in this whole trip was going back up to the top of the Andes, because I didn't know if my car, being so old, could make it back up there. So that's in the next video, heading to Sikwani, leaving from Mazuko, heading into the real Andes with the switchbacks. But yeah, Mazuko was cool, went to bed, no problems, got that bag fixed, everything was good, and left in the morning. The next video will take you into the Andes.